Good morning. Today's session we are going to talk about the youth empowerment as a category of youth in action among the 30 Things Vision Agenda. This document was prepared by myself, Andrew Tumbu, courtesy of the 30 Things movement. The youth empowerment remains one of the most transformative pillars of achieving national prosperity, social cohesion, and sustainable development. In Kenya and across Africa, the youth demographic constitutes more than 70% of the total population, a massive reservoir of energy, creativity, and potential. However, without deliberate empowerment, this potential risks being underutilized or worse, tuned into a source of frustration and instability. The 30 Things Vision Agenda, a conceptual framework that aligns with the Kenya Vision 2030 and the African Union's Agenda of 2063, recognizes youth in action as one of the critical categories. Within this category, youth empowerment stands out as both an enabler and a desired outcome, a dynamic process through which young people gain the confidence, knowledge, and tools necessary to shape their own destinies and to contribute meaningfully to their societies. Therefore, this paper explores youth empowerment as a key category for youth in action within the 30 Things Vision Agenda. It analyzes how young people can be equipped with essential capacities, examines the government's role in supporting empowerment, identifies existing challenges, and recommends sustainable strategies to ensure that young people become effective drivers of national transformation. Understanding the youth empowerment, we say youth empowerment can be defined as a multidimensional social process that helps young people gain control over their lives, improve their capabilities, and participate actively in decision-making processes that affect them. It integrates economic, social, psychological, and political dimensions, acknowledging that empowerment is both individual and collective. In the Kenyan context, empowerment encompasses equipping youth with quality education, employable skills, entrepreneurship opportunities, access to information and technology, and supportive environment that allows them to innovate and lead the change. Empowerment as a development imperative. Youth empowerment is not charity. It is an investment. A nation that fails to empower its youth undermines its own future. According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the youth population aged 18 to 35 stands at approximately 75% of the labor force. This demographic advantage, often called for youth dividend, can accelerate economic growth if properly harnessed through empowerment policies and programs. The dimensions of youth empowerment, it operates through 5 key dimensions. 1. Economic empowerment. This is enabling youth to access decent jobs, capital, and entrepreneurship. Number 2 is social empowerment that enhances social inclusion, participation, and community leadership. Number 3 is political empowerment, which ensuring youth representation in governance, policy making, and civic engagement. Number 4 is educational empowerment that focuses on improving access to quality, relevant, and inclusive education, Then number 5 is psychological empowerment that aims at building self-esteem, confidence, and critical thinking abilities that foster independence and resilience. Youth empowerment within the 30 Things Vision Agenda. 1 is positioning in the vision framework. The 30 Things Vision Agenda seeks to define 30 thematic pillars of national transformation. Among them, the Youth in Action. Youth empowerment forms the foundation of this pillar, representing a cross-cutting driver that influences other agendas such as governance, innovation, agriculture, digital economy, and environmental stewardship. By situating empowerment within this holistic agenda, the vision emphasizes that youth participation is not limited to employment alone but extends to leadership, policy design, research, and social reform. Link to Kenya Vision 2030. Kenya's Vision 2030 identifies the youth as the cornerstone of industrialization and social transformation. It calls for the creation of a globally competitive and adaptive human resource base. Empowerment, therefore, becomes the bridge between aspiration and realization. It converts demographic potential into tangible outcomes. The Medium-Term Plan (MTP) of 2023 to 2027 prioritizes youth, skills development, affordable financing, and innovation hubs. Youth empowerment, as conceptualized in the 30 Things Agenda, strengthens these pillars by introducing action-based participation, where young people are not passive recipients but active designers of change. Youth empowerment and the African context. Across Africa, the Agenda 2063, the Africa We Want underscores youth empowerment as essential for continental renaissance. It envisions an African where youth are drivers of structural transformation. Kenya's alignment to this continental aspiration demonstrates commitment to building a global competitive generation equipped to address complex 21st century challenges such as climate change, unemployment, and technological disruptions. Equipping young people with confidence, knowledge, and tools. Building confidence through mentorship and participation. Confidence forms the emotional backbone of empowerment. Many young people in Kenya experience self-doubt due to unemployment, lack of recognition, and limited mentorship. To build confidence, therefore, deliberate mentorship programs must link youth with successful role models from various sectors. Platforms such as the Presidential Digital Talent Program, Ajira Digital, and University Incubation Hubs can be expanded to include personal development modules emphasizing communication, public speaking, and leadership ethics. Youth councils at the county and national level should institutionalize peer-to-peer mentorship, encouraging youth or young people to share success stories and failures alike. Confidence grows when youth see relatable examples of perseverance and achievement. Knowledge as a catalyst of empowerment. Knowledge is the most powerful tool for sustainable empowerment. A knowledge-driven youth population is capable of critical thinking, innovation, and adaptation. Government and private sector partnerships should focus on 1. modernizing technical and vocational education and training, that is the TVET institution, to meet the 41 Fourth Industrial Revolution demands. And 2, expanding access to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that is the STEM education. 3 is promoting continuous learning through digital platforms such as the e-libraries and online certification programs. Moreover, education must move beyond rote learning. Youth should be trained in financial literacy, entrepreneurship, digital citizenship, and civic education. Knowledge must empower them to interpret national policies, understand global markets, and participate intelligently in governance. The tools for economic and social empowerment include, that is, empowerment tools can be both tangible and intangible. Tangible tools include access to credit, equipment, infrastructure, and digital devices. Intangible tools include supportive legislation, networks, and institutional capacity. The key structures or strategies may be: 1, expanding the youth access to youth enterprise development fund, that is, and the WESO fund through simplified procedures. And 2, establishing innovation and incubation centers in every county, strengthening access to affordable internet and ICT training, encouraging cooperative models and agribusiness where youth pool resources and knowledge. In addition, promoting creative arts, sports, and curricular cultural industries provide alternative empowerment tools that resonate with the aspiration of today's youth. Then the role of government in youth empowerment. How the government may be involved in ensuring that the youths are empowered. 1 is policy development and implementation. The government remains the principal enabler of youth empowerment. Through policy formulation, regulation, and institutional coordination, it creates the environment within which empowerment initiatives can thrive. The National Youth Policy 2019 sets out strategic objectives by promoting youth participation, inclusion, and leadership development. However, implementation remains fragmented. Strengthening coordination through the State Department for Youth Affairs and the National Youth Council is very vital. Education and skills development is another role. Government must continually invest in education systems that are responsive to labor market needs. This entails curriculum reform that integrates practical skills, digital literacy, and entrepreneurship education from early stages. Furthermore, linkages between academia and industry should be institutionalized to ensure that graduates transition seamlessly into employment and self-empowerment. Public-private partnership, that is the PPPs, can sponsor apprenticeship and internship targeting the vulnerable youth groups. Then another factor is economic inclusion and financing. The government can enhance youth economic empowerment through the fiscal incentives for enterprises that employ youth people or young people, tax rebates, grants, and government procurement quotes such as the 30% access to government procurement opportunities, AGBO, should be nominated or monitored for fairness and impact. Youth-led business should also receive priority in accessing government incubation programs and export promotion initiatives, especially under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area framework. Then we have the political and civic empowerment, where youth empowerment must extend into civic life. Governments can promote youth political participation by lowering age barriers for elective and appointive positions, enforcing the youth quotas, and mainstreaming youth voices in policy consultations. Programs such as the Civic Education and Youth Parliament can nurture political literacy, tolerance, and accountability, ensuring that young leaders emerge with integrity and purpose. Then we have social protection and inclusion. The government has a duty to protect vulnerable youth groups, including those living with disabilities, young mothers, and marginalized communities. Social protection mechanisms, cash transfers, health care access, and psychological counseling safeguard the empowerment gains from being reversed by social shocks. Then we have the challenges facing the youth empowerment. One is unemployment and underemployment. Despite the numerous initiatives, young unemployment in Kenya remains above 30%. Many young people work in the informal sector with the limited job security, low wages and benefits. The mismatch between education outcomes and labor market needs exacerbates this challenge. Then limited access to finance. A major constraint to entrepreneurship is access to affordable credit. Youth often lack collateral or financial history to qualify for loans. Complex bureaucratic processes in public funds also discourage the participation. Then we have the weak institutional coordination. Empowerment initiatives are spread across multiple ministries, agencies, and county governments, leading to duplication and inefficiency. The absence of centralized monitoring framework limits accountability and data-driven decision makings. Number 4 is cultural and social barriers, where patriarchal attitudes, generational stereotypes, and political gatekeeping hinder youth participation in leadership. Many leaders perceive youth as inexperienced, while young people feel alienated from power structures. We have corruption and governance deficits. Corruption in fund allocation and recruitment processes undermines trust, discourages young youth engagement. When resources meant for youth empowerment are misappropriated, disillusionment sets in and structures. Then we have corruption and governance deficits. Corruption in fund allocation and recruitment processes undermines trust and discourages youth engagement. When a resource meant for young youth empowerment is misappropriated, disillusionment sets in, fueling apathy and migration. Then we have digital divide. While technology is a key enabler, rural youth face poor connectivity, inadequate devices, and limited digital literacy. This inequality widens socioeconomic gaps and marginalizes talented young people outside urban centers. Then we have psychological and mental health challenges. Rising unemployment, peer pressure, and limited mentorship have contributed to anxiety, depression, and substance abuse among the youth. Empowerment programs often neglect mental health support, yet it is essential for sustained productivity. Strategies and policy recommendations. Integrated Youth Empowerment Framework. Kenya should adopt a comprehensive youth empowerment framework aligned with the 30 Things Vision Agenda. This framework should integrate the youth-related programs under the single coordination body to enhance coherence, data sharing, and impact assessment. Then 2, education reform for employability. Curriculum reforms must emphasize competency-based learning, innovation and vocational skills. Entrepreneurship should be mainstreamed across all educational levels, supported by incubation centers linked to TVETs and universities. Then we have inclusive access to finance. To overcome financial barriers, simplify the loan procedures, and adopt digital application systems for youth funds. Then create county-based youth revolving fund managed transparently. Partner with microfinance institutions and circles to offer low-interest young youth loans. Then introduce financial literacy courses as prerequisite for the accessing public funds. Promotion of digital empowerment. The government should declare broadband internet a public utility. Rural connectivity projects, free Wi-Fi hubs, and digital skills training can narrow the digital divide. Supporting youth innovation hubs through grants and mentorship will nurture the startups. Then we have the leadership and mentorship development, where we need to institutionalize national and county mentorship frameworks, pairing experienced professionals with young leaders. Encourage leadership academies that teach ethics, communication, and policy analysis. In politics, implement youth quotas and mentorship for elected positions within parties and public institutions. Then we have public-private partnership, PPCs. Private sector engagement is vital in creating employment and innovation hub platforms. Incentivize companies to offer internship, apprenticeship, and training programs targeting the youth. Corporate social responsibility efforts should align with the empowerment objectives. Then the mental health and psychosocial support. Include mental health counseling within empowerment programs. Government, non-government organizations, and schools should collaborate to create safe spaces for dialogue, guidance, and emotional support. Then we have data monitoring and evaluation, where we need to develop a national youth empowerment information system, the NYEIS, to collect, analyze, and disseminate data on youth programs. Reliable data ensures evidence-based policy making and accountability. Encouraging grassroots empowerment. By empowerment should not be confined in Nairobi County or county capitals. Community youth groups, cooperatives, and sports associations can be powerful vehicles for local empowerment. County government should provide small grants and trainings to grassroots organizations. Then strengthening international partnership. Kenya can leverage bilateral and multilateral partnerships to access technical expertise, funding and youth exchange programs. Global collaboration exposes Kenyan youth to best practices and in innovation and entrepreneurship. In a nutshell, therefore, youth empowerment is more than a policy goal. It is a moral, socio-economic duty of every generation to equip its successors for leadership. As one of the major categories under the Youth in Action within the 30 Things Vision agenda, empowerment represents the heartbeat of Kenya's transformation. A confident, knowledgeable and well-equipped youth population guarantees national resilience, innovation and global competitiveness. The government, private sector, civil society and youth themselves must unite to create enabling ecosystems where talent meets opportunity. Challenges such as unemployment, corruption, and social exclusion are not insurmountable. They are signals urging us to act faster and smarter. By reforming education, enhancing access to finance, bridging the digital divide, and institutionalizing a mentorship, Kenya can transform its demographic surge into an economic miracle. Ultimately, the vision of the empowered youth is the vision of a prosperous, just, and inclusive Kenya and Africa and globally. A Kenya where every young person can arise, act, and lead. This document was prepared by Andrew, and we urge youth and the relevant sectors to empower the youth generation across the divide.